Chelsea target Declan Rice could be sold for £80 million. Chelsea are likely to target Declan Rice in the summer, and the player is expected to be worth around £80 million. Chelsea have already broke the British transfer record in 2023, and they could have to hand out another massive fee for a midfielder in the summer. Declan Rice has been a long-term target for Chelsea and is still on the list. The club have wanted two new midfielders for a while, and Rice is expected to be a target in the summer. West Ham are resigned to losing Rice in the summer, but want a big fee for the player. According to David Ornstein, the realistic figure for the transfer of Declan Rice in the summer is around £80 million. Chelsea will of course not be alone in their pursuit of Rice, with Arsenal also heavily interested in the player. The Gunners have recently been named favourites in the pursuit of the midfielder. £80 million is the going rate for a top midfielder in the Premier League at the moment, with Moses Caicedo's price tag in January being around that fee too. Chelsea have never stopped their interest in Rice, and he has always been around the top of the list when it comes to the midfield targets. Rice was never going to be allowed leave West Ham in January, but West Ham know he will definitely leave the club in the summer. A midfielder is almost guaranteed in for Chelsea in the next window, and Declan Rice is going to be a name heavily linked to the Blues for a long period during the summer. Chelsea make progress on Mason Mount and N'Golo Kante contracts. Chelsea have made good progress on the contracts of Mason Mount and N'Golo Kante. Chelsea have begun to make good progress on the contract situations of both Mason Mount and N'Golo Kante. Mount's contract is up in 2024, while Kante's is up in June of this year. Kante initially looked to be leaving Chelsea up until the World Cup, but is now expected to commit his future to the club and stay. Mount's contract talks have been dragging on a while but are now in a good place with confidence around the situation. According to Simon Phillips, Mason Mount and N'Golo Kante are now in good negotiations with Chelsea as they look to renew both contracts in the coming months. With such a hectic January window, it's not time to stop focusing on what's coming in for Chelsea and focus on what they do not want to go out of the club. Mount is seen as the poster boy for the Chelsea rebuild, and the club are keen to tie him down to his new contract, especially with Liverpool's interest growing every week. Kante is expected to extend after Jorginho left the club for Arsenal. The player wants to stay in London, and Chelsea are also keen to keep his experience around the club. There is a strong optimism around the deal. Both contracts are not done but are certainly heading in that direction as of now. There is a strong chance both deals will be done in the next month or so, which will be a big boost for Chelsea. Chelsea working on contract extension for Thiago Silva. Chelsea are now working on a contract extension for veteran centre-back Thiago Silva. Chelsea are working on a new contract for Thiago Silva, and there is an expectation between the club and the player that a deal will be done. Both parties want the same thing, and that is an extension on Silva's current deal, which expires in June of this year. The length of the new contract will likely be a year or maybe two if Chelsea believe the Brazilian can still offer the club something into his 40s. As reported by Fabrizio Romano, Thiago Silva has confirmed that he is in negotiations with the club over a contract extension. Speaking about the situation, Silva had this to say: "We are negotiating, it will probably happen in the next days. My plan is to continue at Chelsea, and Chelsea want to continue with me. Chelsea need me with the rebuilding of the club, and here I am." The belief is that the extension will be agreed within the next few days as Chelsea look to push on with new contracts after the hectic January window of incomings they had. Silva will be part of the rebuild the club are undergoing right now, and it's a rebuild that will certainly need experience like the Brazilians. The young players coming through will need that know-how around the ground. Chelsea are wasting no time in tying Silva down to a new deal and hope to have it signed and sealed by the end of the week. Great news for Thiago Silva and the club. Enzo Fernandez in Chelsea squad to face Fulham. Enzo Fernandez is reportedly in the Chelsea squad to face Fulham tomorrow. The speculation was rife on Twitter earlier today about whether Enzo Fernandez had trained for Chelsea today due to there being no pictures of him in the team training session. Reports now are suggesting the Argentine did train, and his visa has been approved for him to be eligible to play for Chelsea tomorrow against Fulham. It is a massive boost for Chelsea after Mateo Kovacic was ruled out through injury. According to Sam_C345 on Twitter, Enzo Fernandez is in the Chelsea squad to face Fulham tomorrow. Enzo signed on deadline day and his visa was approved today, much like Manchester United deadline day signing Marcel Sabitzer. The former Benfica man will be expected to make his debut against Fulham, with Chelsea needing points on the board and having a serious shortage in midfield. Reece James and Ben Chilwell are also back in the squad, but both are not expected to be risked from the start as to avoid another injury upon return. Chelsea are looking to avenge the defeat they suffered in January at Craven Cottage against Fulham, and get their second successive home win in a row. The £105 million man will no doubt be the centre of attention, and just as is always the case in the Premier League, his every touch will be monitored. Enzo will need to get off to a good start to avoid the criticism Paul Pogba faced as the record signing at Manchester United all those years ago.